Welcome to the Very Rich Stories channel, where you will see stories of betrayal, secrets, and twists from real life. This episode is called The Burn, and it is the psychological dramedy. It is the story of Lana and her husband Rick. Get your popcorn and let's go. The Burn. Lana sat watching both the clock and the door. She had a cup of hot coffee in her hand as usual, but tonight she had to stay awake to see exactly what time Rick, her impossible husband of 12 years, would be coming home this time. "It's 2 o'clock in the morning, Rick," she said out loud. "It's a thin line. It's a thin line, brother boy." Lana, a very contentious, argumentative, coffee-driven, caffeine-fueled know-it-all, argues with her husband all the time, every day. Of course, he does stuff that enrages her. He lies, he cheats, he goes out nearly every night. He drinks. This is his idea of grocery shopping. But one day, Lana has an episode that changes her. She stops yelling at him. She stops screaming. This marriage is a cage match. When they got married 12 years ago, they both expected to share something different than what they now share. Screaming matches, plates flying, doors slamming, him laughing at her rage, brushing her off, her voice growing hoarse with years of yelling. They fought every day. She fought for respect, he fought for freedom, from everything, including her. Lana, a very contentious, argumentative know-it-all, argues with her husband all the time, every day. Of course, he does stuff that enrages her. He lies, he cheats, he goes out nearly every night, he drinks. But one day, Lana has an episode that changes her. She stops yelling at him, she stops screaming. They've been married for 12 years. Every day is a battlefield. He gambles, he drinks, he flirts, he spends. And she screams, in her messy kitchen, coffee brewing. Lana's hair is wild. She's wearing slippers and murder in her eyes. Lana accusingly says to her husband, "Rick, you left the garage door open again. I should just let the raccoons take you." "Oh, Lana, did they say something? Are the raccoons unionizing now? I hope they drag you into their little den and chew your face off while you're sleeping off your hangover." While chuckling, Rick says, "You're such a romantic in the mornings. I'm fantasizing about your funeral, Rick. There will be snacks." The next morning, Lana goes into the bathroom after Rick has showered. Rick exits the shower, leaves wet towels all over the bathroom. Lana enters, sees it, stares like it's a hate crime. Lana says, "Seriously, we've been married 12 years. You still dropped the towel like your hands fell off. This is not a hotel, and I am not your maid. Relax. It's a towel, not a war crime." "No, a war crime gets a trial. You get soap in your eyes tonight, and stop stinking the place up." Rick wants to know, is that a threat? No, it's a warning. Threats come with witnesses. The following week is Lana's birthday. Rick invites some of his friends over and tells them to bring their wives. This is what he considers to be a birthday party. It's Lana's birthday, a few friends over. Rick shows up drunk with a stripper-themed cake. Lana can't believe her eyes. She cringes and complains, "You got me a cake with breasts." "Rick, they're not real breasts. It's frosting." Lana yells at Rick, "You know what else is fake? Your remorse, your job, your whole sense of timing." Friends start to wonder and ask, "Should we go?" Lana, "No. Stay. I want witnesses for the part where I destroy this man with only verbs and volume." While Lana was still simmering about that, only a week later the credit card bill comes in the mail. Rick's lounging. Lana storms in, holding the credit card bill like it's a subpoena. "Lana, $2,000 at Golden Hands Massage and Slots." Rick answers, "It's a combo place, like surf and turf, but for the soul." Lana threatens him, saying, "I will combo your face with my fist and a cast iron skillet." Rick tells her, "Lana, you have anger issues." Lana responds, "Rick, you have stupidity issues. I'm just reacting appropriately to the circus that is your life." They argue all night about this one. Rick gets no sleep. Not that he ever slept anyway. He stayed up until all hours partying most nights. The next day, Rick goes to work extra tired. His friends want to know if he is stopping by the bar on the way home to unwind. He said, "There is no unwinding anymore. I'm wound so tight from Lana fighting with me, I don't think there is anything I can do to unwind anymore." So he goes home. But then, one ordinary Tuesday, she stops. What Rick doesn't know is one morning in her kitchen when she is mixing her coffee like a mad scientist or chemist, she takes her coffee seriously. She has the K-cups, French brew, slow drip, cold brew, any technique of coffee making. She has tried it and uses it depending on her mood. And her mood is always for coffee. She is all about that coffee. One morning after Rick has already left for work, while standing in her kitchen, she suddenly experiences terrifying chest pain. She thinks it's death. She stands frozen in space, frozen in time. Her faithful coffee surely didn't do that to her. It must be something else. It must be Rick. This really angers her because she had definitely planned to outlive Rick. She could not let him win by checking out right now. She must live. She must will herself to live. She takes 2 antacids and is fine in a few minutes. Yeah, it's Rick. Lana thinks she's dying, but is too proud and afraid to go to the doctor. Her fear makes her go quiet, not to manipulate Rick, but because she believes the end is near. She begins praying. Every day. That night, in bed, Lana suddenly clutches her chest. She winces, her face twisted in pain. The room is dark except for the flicker of the TV and Rick snoring beside her, blissfully unaware. She suddenly jolts up, breathing heavily, hand on her sternum. Lana, no, not now, not like this. She paces the room like a caged animal, opens the drawer, pops 2 Tums. Nothing. She sits on the edge of the tub in the bathroom, clutching her stomach, trying to breathe deeply. Great. Just great. He spends my retirement money on blackjack and hooker cake, and I'm not going to die before him. She opens Google on her phone, types chest pain, throat burning, shortness of breath. Search results: heart attack, esophageal cancer, acid reflux. She slams the phone down. I'm not going to the doctor. Last time they said stress. Next time they'll say goodbye. If I've only got a few weeks left. I'm not spending them screaming at a man who wipes barbecue sauce on his pants and calls it multitasking. She splashes water on her face. Deep breath. Resolved. Lana, to herself, let him self-destruct. I'm done narrating it. The next night, Rick is in bed snoring. The bedroom is dim, silent except for Rick's snoring. Lana lies awake, eyes wide, clutching her chest. Her face is pale, panicked. A low growl in her throat. She bolts upright. No. Not again. She stumbles into the bathroom, hands shaking, flips on the light. Lana leans over the sink. Her breath is ragged. She presses her palm to her chest. Her throat burns like napalm. She opens the drawer, grabs a bottle of antacids, dry swallows 2. No relief. Lana, this is it. This is how I go. Not in some climactic moment, just in a Target robe, on a Tuesday, with my intestines melting. She pulls out her phone, frantically Googles, search, chest pain, throat burning, can't breathe. Results: heart attack, stomach cancer, pancreas failure. Stress. Acid reflux. Lana, oh, good. A choice in death, like it's a Cheesecake Factory menu. She slowly slides down the bathroom wall, sits on the floor, still breathing hard, eyes wet, crying. If this is the end, I'm not wasting final days screaming at a man who thinks air frying is a personality. She looks at herself in the mirror, sweaty, haunted, worn. Then, resolve. She stands up, smooths her hair. Her expression is eerily calm. Lana, to herself, no more yelling. No more chasing him around like he's a dog who got into the trash again. I'm done explaining basic decency. Let the silence bury him before I do. She turns off the light, walks out of the bathroom. Rick is still snoring. Lana slips back into bed beside him. Eyes open, cold and focused. The next morning, Rick strolls into the kitchen, humming. Lana sits at the counter, having a coffee, processing all she went through last night and trying to pull herself together. Rick asks, "Did you get up last night? I heard pacing, just needed some air. You okay?" Lana admits, "I'm alive, for now." She sips again, quiet, calm, almost like a ghost. Rick squints, suspicious. She decides at that exact moment, again, she's done yelling. What good is it doing anyway? Rick is stressing her out. She decides for the 3rd or 4th time that from now on, she's saving her breath for the afterlife. The first night after the incident, Rick came home at some ungodly hour, but she didn't argue with him. She didn't say anything. He thought finally, at last, a man ought to have respect in his own house after all. The next night, same thing. He wonders if he has wandered into the wrong house. The 3rd night, she is still not yelling at him. The next morning, she is calm and quiet. What's going on? He becomes very afraid of her because he is still doing wrong things like chasing women, staying out all night and drinking, gambling, spending lots of money. Her yelling used to make him feel better about his wrongdoing, but now that she wasn't fighting with him, he was stuck feeling his own guilt. He talks to one of his buddies at work. "Hey, Fred, my wife used to complain and fight and argue all the time, but now she just stopped. Stopped? Yeah, just stopped. Do you know why? I haven't figured it out. Man, she's gotten quiet after all these years of arguing. She just stopped, Fred said again. Yeah, Rick. My mama told me that when a woman stops arguing with you, she is planning something. What men don't know is when a woman stops yelling at you, she doesn't even care anymore. One day you may wake up and all of a sudden, she's gone. Gone? I don't want her to go, realizes Rick. One day, Rick, one day. Man, oh man, you'd better be careful. I know a guy who went through that, and that lady was scheming and scamming on him. A friend of yours? Well, he used to be. What? You two aren't friends anymore. She wrangled him in? You could say that. He indicates a cut to the throat regarding his friend. Rick's eyes get huge. He's? Where is he? May he rest in peace. His friend Fred folds his hands, bows his head, and closes his eyes. Nah, man. Nah. You've got to be kidding. Instead of going to the bar on the fourth night, Rick goes straight home from work. Lana has no wise cracks. Lana says nothing to Rick, just hi, and how are you doing? She has become very quiet, so he thinks she is plotting something. She is not plotting anything, but you would never convince Rick of that. He's gone completely paranoid. She's just scrolling on her cell phone and laughing ever so often. Every time she laughs, he cuts his eyes in her direction to try to see what she is laughing at. So he asks her, "What's funny?" Lana doesn't respond, so he asks again, more forcefully, "What's so funny?" "Oh, nothing you'd be interested in." Rick gets so irritated that he grabs his car keys and goes to the bar. He comes stumbling in at 1 a.m. Lana is asleep in bed and doesn't care. The next morning, Rick smells the coffee brewing in the kitchen. Lana stands at the counter, staring blankly. Rick walks in like a frat bro 20 years too late. Rick. Hey, babe. Late night. Poker ran long. Rick's gotta hustle, you know. He kisses her cheek. She doesn't flinch, doesn't move. Just sips coffee. Lana morning. Rick looks at her. Narrowed eyes. Rick, just morning? No snarky comment about how I smell like whiskey and lap dance regret? Lana, nope. Rick pauses. Something feels wrong. Rick expects an explosion that never comes. He comes home at 3 a.m., expecting a tirade. But Lana is in bed, reading, calm, unbothered. He flirts with a waitress in front of her. She tips the waitress. He spends $3,000 on a poker night. She simply transfers half their savings to a separate account. Rick starts to spiral. He thinks she's planning a divorce, maybe a hitman, maybe she's recording him, maybe she has cancer, maybe she doesn't love him anymore. The silence is deafening, it terrifies him. Rick stumbles in, drunk, glitter on his shirt. Lana is calmly folding laundry. Rick, all right, let's do this. Go ahead. Yell. I'm ready, I deserve it. Bring the thunder, baby. How was your night? Rick stares, confused. Suspicious. He flops on the couch. Rick, what are you planning? Nothing. You're planning a murder. You finally snapped, didn't you? You're going to do it when I'm asleep. What are you planning? Sweetheart, if I were going to murder you, I'd have done it before your fourth DUI. Rick is frantically Googling. Wife stopped arguing psychology. Signs your spouse is planning to leave you. How to survive female silence. Lana breezes by. Grabs an apple, kisses his head. Are you okay, Rick? Are you okay? He hesitates, then he wants to know of his wife. Why are you being nice? I'm tired, Rick. Screaming is cardio. I'm done exercising for your sins. She leaves the room, leaving Rick to stare into the Google abyss. The next day, Lana, drained, slumped in a chair, visits an online therapist. The therapist suggests, what if you stopped trying to change him? Stopped yelling? Lana says, Rick would think I'm plotting something. The therapist replies, good, let him sit in that. Lana blinks, smiles slowly. Rick lies in bed, wide-eyed, whispering into the dark. Lana is in the bathroom doing skincare and humming. Rick thinks to himself, she hasn't yelled in 28 days. Either she's found peace or a poison that's undetectable. Is she filming him? What is she hiding? He had begun to look around the house, but found nothing out of the ordinary. Oh my goodness, she is singing. She's happy. Happy? How can that be? She must be planning something. Rick makes a solid decision right then and there. He will fix himself before she kills him. The next morning, Rick gets up before Lana. He is shaved, he has cleaned the house, he is in the kitchen wearing an apron and cooking what should be breakfast, but he's got pots and pans all over the place. Lana walks in, eyebrows raised. Rick, I cooked. I also sold the poker table. I'm done with gambling. And I downloaded a budgeting app. Lana asks, You're cooking? Yes, Lana. I don't know if you'd put poison in what you cook, so I will cook from now on. You scare the hell out of me. Lana proudly says, Good. They eat in silence. Peaceful. Awkward. New. On the back porch a few days later, Lana has her signature cup of coffee in the other wine mug. Rick inquires, So, are we okay? Lana, I don't know yet, but I'm okay. For once, that's enough. Long silence. You're never yelling again, are you? Only in my head, where it counts. Rick nods, solemnly. You're terrifying. I think I'm in love with you again. That's funny, as if anyone else would want you. They say silence is golden, but for men like Rick, it's pure psychological warfare. I didn't need to kill him. He killed the old him all by himself. All I had to do was shut the heck up. Sometimes silence speaks louder than 1,000 screaming matches. The next morning in the kitchen, Lana enjoys a coffee. Same coffee, same Rick. But now, Lana is silent, just a sip and a nod. Rick says, no screaming, no towel threats, no cake rants, nothing, just Lana's peaceful hum. Rick is descending into paranoia. He is Googling, what does wife silence mean? Whispering to himself in the mirror, is she cheating? No one would volunteer for this circus unless she's planning something. Hiding his own car keys, just in case. Rewriting his will while crying. A few days later, Rick says to Lana, I haven't had a drink in days. I washed and folded all the laundry. I canceled Golden Hands. Lana says to Rick, You seem functional. I was scared you were going to poison me. Lana smartly replies, I still might. He starts following her around the house, asking questions, begging for reactions, but Lana just smiles. Finally, one evening at dinner, he starts to eat, but feels horrible. He feels bloaty, gassy, pain is in his back and in his chest. He insists, Lana, take me to the emergency room now. This is an emergency. Okay, let's go. I yelled for 12 years. It changed nothing. Then I stopped. But this medical emergency is making me rethink things. And everything changed. Turns out, peace is the scariest sound a man like Rick can hear. Lana wondered as they raced to the ER, has it made him sick? She didn't kill him. She just stopped fighting. And that scared him to life. What's happened to them? Lana worried to herself. She feels bad. He feels bad. I should have checked online for recalls. Maybe it was something we ate. What would the doctor say to Rick? Rick begs Lana to go in with him. He's afraid. He sits on the exam table like a wounded little boy. Lana is beside him, hoping he is okay. The overhead fluorescent lights hum like judgment. Rick says, Doc, I've been having these stabbing pains in my side. Intermittent, but tonight was more than I could bear. Sounds like my colon is talking and I didn't ask it anything. I want to file a noise complaint, doctor. Lana says, I want to file an air quality complaint, mutters Lana, thinking back to how many times she has sprayed air freshener. Pretends he didn't hear her and says to Rick, How much fiber are you getting? Rick, do potato chips count? No. Then 0. He pauses, afraid to ask, and then says, What's wrong with me, Doc? The doctor doesn't look up from writing a prescription. Gas. Gas? That's it. Doctor, in industrial amounts, yes, gas, flatulence, methane. Lana lets out a small snort and says, Smog, air pollution. Rick looks wounded. Rick, what, now you're laughing again? Just at the irony, not at you. Okay, also at you. The doctor looks at Lana and asked her, Lana, is anything bothering you? Anyone bothering me? Is that what you mean, doctor? No, I mean, is anything bothering you? Well, yes, burning in my throat, tight chest at night. Feels like my ribs are roasting over low heat. I'm too young for menopause. The doctor asks, how long has that been going on? Lana, about 3 weeks. I assumed it was death or marriage. Doctor chuckles, then realizes she's not joking. Doctor, sounds like classic GERD, acid reflux, probably aggravated by stress. Lana sarcastically says, stress, how adorable. The doctor continues, I'll write you a prescription for a probiotic and a low-acid diet. Cut back on caffeine, tomatoes rage. Lana raises her eyebrows. Caffeine? Yes, go decaf, at least for now. The doctor, turning back to Rick, he says, whatever keeps the acid down, the doctor directs. And you, fiber, water, less beer, and here, same probiotic. You two can take them together, like a romantic ritual. Rick says matching pills, that's love. Lana answers, no, that's survival. Moments later, they are still in the pharmacy parking lot. Rick and Lana sit in the car, two paper bags between them like a couple of winos. At first, in silence, but then they realize how ridiculous they both have been. So, we're both just really gassy and dramatic? Basically. You thought you were dying, didn't you? You thought your gas was a tumor. They both glance at each other, then burst out laughing, the first real shared laugh in maybe years. So now what? Lana. We take our probiotics, and reading the label, she says, avoid tomatoes, bourbon, and emotionally violent conflict. That's basically your whole personality and most of your diet. They clink their medicine bottles together like champagne glasses. Lana says flatly, to health. Rick adds, to fiber and gastrointestinal rebirth. Turns out I wasn't dying, just inflamed, physically and emotionally. Sometimes the cure isn't a dramatic exit or a therapy breakthrough. Sometimes it's probiotics and diet and fiber. Maybe it's all of that and a lot less screaming. Lana and Rick enjoy a nice dinner together and neither of them are in physical pain. They then watch a movie together at home and neither of them is in emotional pain either. Lana goes to the kitchen, opens the fridge, and calls back to Rick to see if he wanted a beer or anything. No, he said, I'm fine. Lana closes the fridge and realizes she is fine too. Finally, the end. Thank you for tuning in to Very Rich Stories. Be sure to give a like. It encourages us greatly. Subscribe so you won't miss the next episode.